Welcome, it's Druidsfire. I hope you enjoyed the little thumbnail. I had a little bit of fun making that. We'll have a little outtake at the end of the video, but let's get into it. The Symphony of the Fae event is now live at this time in Dungeons & Dragons Online. It started on November 19th, 2025, and is slated to end with the downtime between February 3rd and February 4th, 2026. We've got the website here, and I'll get you the link in the chat below so you can check it out for yourself. But let's go over the details of this beautiful event. Basically, the long and the short of it is that our good favorite Archfey Hearsome has got himself in a little bit of trouble after the events of the Dryad and the Demigod raid, where he got cursed by the Fomorian King. And now he is trapped in the Shadowfell, and if we don't save him, then bad things will happen, and he will be trapped there forever. Some might say, well, who cares? It's Hearsome, he's a bit of a jerk. On the other hand, it's a fun event. Who cares? Alright. So, Hearsome is corrupted, cursed by the Fomorian King, now residing in the Shadowfell following his defeat. Dun, 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 dun. The curse has scattered Hearsome's power across all worlds, and is up to you, brave adventurers, to gather this power back in order to put an end to the Fomorian King's threat, because it's not so much that we're helping Hearsome so much as that we're making sure the Fomorian King doesn't do super terrible bad world-ending kind of things, right? You get to choose a faction, Summer Court or Winter Court, and we'll explain the difference between the two in a moment. Equip one of 5 special loots, 1 set of loots for each court, so there is a total of 10 loots. 10 loots. And so you can cut your loots on your fingers or your toes, depending. And what you do is you go through the game, you discover musical motes, not to be confused with musical Mozart, though these are motes that make art because they play music. And complete the special encounters associated with those motes, earn cosmetic and musical rewards. Now, for those who are familiar with the previous Lanterns of the Mist event, that was the launch event for the Cormier server, the mechanics are kind of similar, but they're not exactly the same. You do still equip the loot in question into your cosmetic shield slot. You do the thing, and it gains durability. So, in order to participate in this event, you have to be one of 2 things. Number 1, you can be any old character, and that you can participate in the Summer Court. Summer Court doesn't care what you are, who you are, how many past lives you have, what your level is. The main criteria, and we'll get into the criteria of how you can play through the game. So basically they made it so you can't cheese it necessarily. Some people are going to still cheese it anyway. But you can't just be like a max level running level 1 quests. It don't work that way. Alright. It's going to be kind of like a hardcore light sort of deal, but there's also an actual hardcore option, and we'll get into that in just a moment. So, make sure you pick up your loot, and you equip it, your cosmetic shield slot. The other kind of character you can bring is specifically for Winter Court. Winter Court requires that you be a fresh off the bit truck level 1 character. And we have discovered Iconics can do this with a little higgledy-piggledy jiggery-pokery. And we'll get into that as well. So, how do you take part? Have your loot equipped. Find the mote of a different color. Each mote connotes a different kind of difficulty. Similar, again, for those who remember the Lantern event, the color of the mist that spawned would give you a clue as to how tough the mob you were about to fight was. And if it was orange, it was the head of the beast. Yeah, that kind of thing. As soon as I saw them, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get my butt kicked. All right. So, you click. Once you find a mote, these will appear in pretty much all content in the game except raids. And people seem to have mentioned that they haven't been able to find them in challenges. So that's a thing. So, Unlike the lantern event, you can choose to ignore the moat. You are not required to play with the moat. So if you get an orange and you're not feeling very confident in what you got, you can ignore it. It goes away after a little bit. They despawn. So most moats will randomly appear while you adventure. Again, quests and wilderness, not raids. When you find it, you click on your loot to unlock the moat. Face its encounter, which basically means bad guys spawn. You beat them up. And then you click on the thing again, and then you will get your loot will gain durability with a varying amount depending on difficulty of quest, how many levels you are above the quest, and all kinds of other fun things like that. Each loot has its own separate set of difficulties. I'm sorry, not difficulties, but durability. Another word that starts with D. And as you increment that, then once it gets full, you'll be instructed to go back to the NPCs, turn it in, and get your reward unlocked account-wide. Now, as I said, there's 2 sets of 5 loots and a cosmetic reward for completing each loot. One loot does not have a level gating mechanism, but the others require you to level up to play. So again, you can't just hang out on level 1 and complete the loot. You've got to go through the whole process. All right. So the moat color is, if it's a green, fresh off the turnip truck, it's a fresh moat. It's going to be the easy one with the least amount of durability added. Blue is an average one, so that's basically your hard, your elite, whatever. The shadow is corrupting. Ooh. Then you're going to get a purple one. Purple. That's going to be the hard moat, nearly corrupted by the shadow fill. And then finally, there are also rumors of a special 4th moat that offers a special reward, but their locations are currently unknown. Ooh. However, we already know that these are golden moats, and there's only supposed to be 5 throughout the entire game. Oh dear. Does this mean players are going to have to play through the entire game to find them? Yes. On the other hand, our good friend Arcaniverse is already well on top of that, and I will be showing you and then linking you the forum post that he started up where they are tracking this happiness. As of the time I'm recording this, they already have 3 of the moats found, so good times. All right. Each of the 5 special moats can only be used once per loot. Okay? And apparently you have to use the correct loot for that moat. And we'll get into the 5 loots here in just a moment. Winter Court or Summer Court. So basically, Summer Court is you play the game on whatever character you already have. You just have to stay within 3 levels of the quest you're doing. So, for example, if you're playing a level 3 quest, you can be a maximum of level 6. That's kind of like one of the things we're used to from the various seasons of Hardcore in the past, where you had to be within a certain number of levels, or otherwise it didn't count. You didn't get the favor, it doesn't count, it doesn't work. It actually, Hardcore wouldn't even let you do that. Anyhow, but what about the Winter Court? Winter Court is where you have to be a brand new level 1 character, and you can use an iconic, but you must refuse training. So, for example, if you make a Shatterkai, because chains are awesome, right? And plus, hey, first level of Rogue, why not? Critzilla, here we come. You refuse training in wherever you are, the jail cell or whoever. Then you go into the main world. You go to one of the 2 spots, Korthos or the Hut from Beyond in the harbor in Stormreach. And then you talk to the people, you get your loots, and then you go get on with the rest of your day. So, that being said, once you have to basically give up your extra XP. Also, if you have veteran status unlocked on your account, when you're creating your level 1 character, you'll spawn in Shipwreck Shore next to Jeets. You'll tell Jeet you want to skip the Korthos storyline, and then you will pop out in Korthos next to the NPCs, and you won't have any XP to be, basically you have to be still within rank 1. Well, you have to you can complete rank 1, you just can't complete rank 2. That being said, let's keep going. When you choose to play for the Winter Court, and the reason why you want to play for the Winter Court or the Summer Court is the cosmetics will vary based on which side you're playing for or which loot you're turning in. So unlike the Lantern event, which the rewards were exactly the same for hardcore and non-hardcore except a little itty-bitty skull icon, these actually have different colors from one to the other. So summer has summery kind of colors, winter has wintry kind of colors. It's kind of cool. So you'll know definitively for sure what kind of loot that person turned in, whether they played Summer Court or Winter Court. So there are 10 rewards to get from this event. And if you like to collect all of the things, you may want to actually go and collect all of the things and play all 10 loots. Have fun. Okay. And yes, some of them involve Reaper mode. Oh no. Yes, they do. There's a Reaper one. So the website provided by Standing Stone doesn't really go into a huge bunch of detail about, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. It really is intended to be an event that we, the players, discover things. It's kind of fun. It's also a little kind of aggravating because we're kind of used to being told at the beginning of a hardcore league, if you do this, you get this reward. If you do that, you get this reward. You do this other thing, you get this other reward. So this one we kind of have to figure it out on our own. And that's okay. We will figure it out because our community is very clever. So if you choose, and it actually says here about the iconic characters can take part by opting to skip the tutorial experience and then speak to the Baroness. She will offer to remove your iconic experience, so you run the event at level 1. And so basically I understand that this is the same way it happened in the Lantern event. I didn't try that, so I didn't know. Anyhow, if you're playing Winter Court, they've added a cool little detail. Because the whole idea of doing Winter Court is, number one, if you die, that run is done. All right? Hardcore, it's a hardcore run. So 1 life, you die, you're done. You have to start over or decide to play out the rest in Summer Court. But you'd have to get the Summer Court loots to do that. So, do what you gotta do, right? Okay. And as it says here, the Winter Court, the whole idea is to remove your ability to use past lives to blow your way through content. It will remove your ability to... This is the really cool part. This is like basically self-bound. It's a concept that I've seen in other games like World of Warcraft. Like when they do a hardcore, it's kind of like, oh, you can only use the gear that you pick up while you're questing. You can't craft, you can't do this, you can't trade gear with other characters. And it's kind of cool. So while you're questing with a Winter Court character, any piece of loot that you get, you can use. You can't like go into your stash of 5 million different bank alts and grab your named items. You have to farm new stuff. And that's actually kind of cool. Because that's one thing that was really cool about Hardcore League is you had to start over. You didn't have a stash to work with. You had to farm up new stuff. So that is kind of cool. So while you're Winter Court, you're going to get an icon that's called Vow of Glory. And that will tell you that you have taken a vow to the Fey Court of Winter, which prohibits you from using any magical equipment that is not flagged as part of the music of the Fey event. It's Symphony of the Fey, thank you. This effect is removed upon death. And you'll see the icon, and I'll show you what it looks like once we go in-game. Because I'm going to show you where the vendors are, and I'll show you what the loots look like, and we can take a loot and everything. So anyone with a Vow of Glory will appear on the Symphony of the Fey leaderboard. Your progress on the leaderboard and your vow of glory is removed upon death. You can see the leaderboard and track your progress by speaking to the Baroness in the hut from beyond. You can also talk to her at Korthos. So, if you happen to equip an off-event item, basically something that does not have the Fey event stuff, as a Winter Court person, you will get a massive debuff on you, which is going to get you murdered. Even if you know what you're doing, you're used to working with 5 billion past lives, and you have all the knowledge of where all the traps are, you're not going to have... I would actually like to see somebody try to play the game with their regular gear on the hardcore just to see what happens. I want to see that, to see how far they get. Because I am fully confident somebody could manage to get through without dying, but it would be heckin' hard. All right. So help and hear some. Again, you're going to go through the game world, play the quest like you normally play your quest. There's no favor rewards for this, so your favor doesn't matter whatsoever. So if there's quests that you really hate doing on Hardcore League because you know you might wind up getting killed dead, you can skip them. So you don't have to do Stealthy Repo if you don't want to. You don't have to do any of the quests you don't know the traps on if you don't want to. The main thing is you want to keep within the levels that you need for your loot and make sure you're on the right mode, and then life is good. So in Heroic difficulty, you can only claim a moat if you are closer than 3 levels over the base level of the quest. So for level 3 quest, you should need to be level 6 or lower. Epic and Legendary difficulty quests kind of also work the same way, but you need to be at least level 20 to claim the moat, regardless of the difference between the character level and level of the quest. Epic and Legendary quests have the same 3 levels over the base level of the quest restriction. So basically, you can't run Keep on the Borderlands as a max level character. I think they're kind of trying to straddle, like, as soon as you hit level 20, you're epic. You need to start doing epic quests. I think that's what they're trying to do there. You can grab all 5 loots at once if you wish. The loot that is equipped will receive the benefit of following the encounters. And they do have a couple of known issues. Some lower level items do not have the Winter Court iconography, but these items can still be equipped. Fun times. If they don't have the icon on the item, you'll still see a thing in the tooltip saying, okay, this loot has XYZ thing on it. And the loot of the Summer Flight claims to award Horns of the Court, but it actually awards the Fairy Wings. All right. And you can kind of see some of the rewards there. That is the Summer Mount, the Winter Horns, I think, and I don't know which wings go where. I haven't seen the other wings yet. I believe those are the Summer wings, and I'm assuming that the wings are the Reaper version, and the mounts are whatever. Okay, so rewards. Completing a loot will reward you, but again, you have to turn the loot in. So if you complete your hardcore loots, plural, as soon as you complete one, turn it in. Just run your butt over to Korthos or to the hut from beyond and turn that crap in. Just do it. All right? Just do it. Okay. All right. So we have 5 loots. There is the Novice loot, which will grant you the half cloak of the court. The Sky loot, which will give you the cloak of the court, the full cloak. The Horn will get you Horns of the Court, which is basically that little thing with the satyr horns on it. The Knight loot will get you the Steed of the Court, and the Flight one will get you Fairy Wings. All right, so that's all that's in the document. Let's take a quick look at the one. I'm assuming this is the Winter Cloak. And I'm guessing this is the half cloak. I'm guessing this is the Summer Cloak. This is one thing that's that there has been some consternation about in the community is what's the name of this item? I mean, we can kind of infer, that this is the winter one and this is the summer one. I mean, the colors seem to imply that, but what is this? Is this the half cloak? These are the satyr horns. But we don't know which ones those are. And we don't see the other set of wings. And we also don't see what's the reward for the golden motes. Again, because the special fourth mote offers a special reward. We do know that those golden motes do grant a crap ton of of the durability to whatever thing you're working with. So that's a thing. All right. That being said, let's go take a look. Let's go take a look in game. And again, we'll have this document linked under here. Ooh, there we're in game. But let me actually show you first the website on the forums. As crafted by Master Arcanaverse, there is this this post on DDO's forums where he is collating all the details about the motes. As of this posting, or as of this recording, he had only gotten 3 of them. Let me refresh the page on the website. Still only 3. So I assume that they will be found pretty quickly because our community is awesome. Now, once a server finds all 5, that was another part of the event that they had mentioned. So let's go back to that document. Let's bring this back up. Symphony of the Fae Guide. Boop. And get that out of the way. Once the community turns in all of their loots, because that's another thing that you do, is you got to turn in the loots, and then it will make Hearsome better. Once Hearsome has been saved, there will be a buff posted across the entire server. We don't know what that buff actually is. And so there's a little bit of a server versus server sort of challenge mode here. Some might say, well, obviously Shadowdale's going to get it first because they're the most populated. But you can also say, well, Thrain might get it first because they're the grindiest people. However, the Europeans could just come out and just knock this thing out in the park. And you never know. Cormyr may just, sneak in there and grab it while nobody's looking. You never know. So I wouldn't count any of them out. So that sounds like a lot of fun. And so again, there's anyone can equip the Winter Court items. You're taking up the Winter Court challenge or not. So if you find a Winter Court item, and let's say you find a named item for one of your alts, you can hand it over to your alt, and it's not going to bother them if they're not playing Winter Court. It doesn't matter. But you can't use anything that's not Winter Court related. And people have already tested that, yes, you can Caneth craft this. Also, it seems that there are a few updates made to the game to correspond not only with the golden motes, but also a little bit of an update to, say, the Caneth Crystal quest. A little bit of redecoration has been going on, we heard. But let's go back in game real quick, and I'll show you what you gotta do. So, I got my fresh level 1 character, fresh off of the Shipwreck Shore. Since I do have vet status on my account, I basically went to talk to Jeets and said, Jeets, let's skip. Let's go to Korthos. So he dumped me on Korthos. Jeets dumped me anywhere. Sounds like a steamy romance novel or something. I don't know. Anybody want to write that? And so you're out right here. You can ignore the 2 lantern people. They're not relevant. It's a little confusing to have them there, but if you know to ignore them, then you're fine. So Lord Arden is your summer court person, and you can turn in your stuff with him. You can you can claim something on an alt, and you can also get the loots. And he can tell you about each of the loots and what you have to do. But it doesn't really tell you what quests to do. Alright. And then Baroness Hilda Bitterspine does the other ones, and she tells you about the winter stuff, and she also does the leaderboard. So we can already see who's kicking some butt on the leaderboards right now. So we got folks who are already level 8, Cobblestone there, God. And then the people who are doing the Reaper XP run, good job, all of you. So look at all these beautiful people rocking it. I saw some of these people actually creating their characters, so good times. And I honestly do imagine, hey, look, I have 1 Reaper point. What? No, I'm level 1. I'm Blueberry. I do fully imagine, as usual, once this is all completed, somebody made Wilford Brimley. That's hilarious. The final names that wind up on the leaderboard in the Hall of Heroes after the fact will have their names vetted to make sure that they're not doing something inappropriate, because guess what? They're going to. Yeah, they're going to. All right, so you can talk about all of the things, find out what's going on. Also, over here. You can also talk to Hawthorne, and she has some information. She'll tell you all about the award, about the event. What's the mode of music? He wants the modes as well. Basically, this is all the heroes, all the story. So you can either do this and talk to them immediately, or she'll give you more about how this all happens. So, and Harrison is just basically having a bad time. Okay. So this is one place you can find them. You can also find them in the Hut from Beyond. We're going to run over to the harbor. Now, again, one thing to bear in mind is you do not have to run on Reaper unless you're running the loot that does Reaper mode. There is one that does Reaper. Alright. We're gonna actually take the shortcut across the harbor. Sploosh. One of the questions that folks were asking, and I had not seen an actual official answer or a confirmation from the community, is what happens if you, for example, choose to equip an augment that you have from an alt. Does that suddenly make your item no longer, it's kind of like breaking a druidic oath? So here's the Hut from Beyond. You're going to go in here. Don't do the quest. So we had all been wondering what was going to happen over in this area. We had seen this before. We're like, oh, what's happening? And what's over here is you got, it's actually a little bit better over here because there's a lot more room. And you can see the 2 mounts, by the way. This, we believe, is the winter mount. It's basically a unicorn with a lute on it. And this nice vine-like tack on it. And this is the summer one, basically the same, but in summery colors. Interestingly, there are portals and other things in this area, but we don't know what they're for. Oh, there's apparently a unicorn floating up there. Anyhow, so this is the basics of how you get your loots. And let's go take a look at the 5 loots. I picked up the winter ones. And no, I haven't been to the bank yet. Alright, we're going to do these in succession. So we're going to explain what they do. And as you can see, they're broken. So the loot of the Winter Novice for the half cloak only requires 500 durability to get your stuff. And the charges are basically play for the Fae, play your tune near moats, to activate and then collect them. Beware, each moat may have guardians or some challenge for you. And number 2, the Sky Loot. By the way, the durability is the same whether you're playing a summer loot or a winter loot, so doesn't matter. It's the same either way. The winter one, here you go. And it's 1500. The horn, for the horn cosmetic, is 1250. And the knight, which is the horsey, is let me go back and look. Let me go look at the website. Okay, let's go back to the website. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the knight is the horse. And so that is... I'm actually a little bit surprised that the knight one, the horse, is only 1250. Kind of cool. The hard one for the fairy wings is the winter or summer flight. And that's the one that's going to get you the fairy wings. And that's... Honestly, since they haven't shown the hardcore fairy wings, I'm assuming the monarch wings are the summer ones. And then there's like something cool in blue for the hardcore ones. And I have a feeling it's going to require hardcore Reaper. I'm like, ugh. So I'll have to think about that one. If I see a picture of it and I really, really want it, I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to hate it because I'm not a Reaper player by nature. Especially on hardcore. So that's going to be rough. Of course, what you can do is you have to be level 1 to get the durability on your character. I'm sorry. You have to be level 1 to acquire the winter loots. But there's nothing that says that you can't get a few past lives and then go back to do Reaper. As long as you haven't died that entire time. Anywho. That's the basics of the event. I haven't run a quest yet. This is my hardcore character, so I really need to think about what I want to do with it. But yeah, we're gonna make a run for it and see what happens. I kind of want the full cloak. So the full cloak again will require that I do the winter sky one. So I'm going to equip this one. That makes sense. The long cloak being 1500. So that's gonna be rough. However, again, one of the things to bear in mind is, yes, you can do these on whatever tier difficulty you want, except the one that requires Reaper. So, do what you gotta do. Alright, that is the Feywild event. Feywild, the Symphony of the Fey event. And I would also like to close out with with an outtake. So, as I was going to, like, I'm gonna make a thumbnail. And I came up with a really cool idea because, hey, I own a violin. What? Yeah, I do. I don't play it. I never learned how to play it. I just have one. It's not very expensive. It's an electric violin. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this really cool sort of, thumbnail for the video and whatnot. And then I came up with this glorious outtake. Storm lost my rescue kitty. Really, really, really liked the bow. She did. And then I took this picture. I'm like, oh man, I gotta use this for the thumbnail. But I was like, where the heck am I gonna put all the words? What? And then I remembered, oh, wait, crap. There isn't a violin in this. It's all about the lute. And I'm like, well, crap, I don't own a lute. And that's where I came up with the other image, the one that I used for the thumbnail, and I remembered, you know what, I don't own a lute, but what I do own is a Fender Stratocaster. And so I went and decided to make a funny picture, as you do. And we're going to put that up here. Look at that. And there we go. There's my other funny meme. Oops. Just like the internet meme from, I believe, El Dorado. Anyhow, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and toss a like on the video if this is the kind of stuff you like. Toss a subscribe on the channel if you like the stuff that I make in general. And yeah, I will see you. I play on DDO, Stream, on the official Dungeons & Dragons Online Twitch channel, Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever time. And I'm on my own channel, twitch.tv/Druidsfire. You can find me there generally Mondays, Thursdays, sometimes Fridays, and sometimes Saturdays, depending on if I have a second job that needs me on a Saturday. You never know. All right. You know the drill. Be good. If you can't be good at it. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.